Absolutely. And a divine God or creator, I totally am convinced that there is a divine essence to us, and so I have no problem with spirituality.
What makes you convinced?
Well, I'm talking about organized religion.
No, but what makes you convinced about that we do have a divine spirituality?
Oh, I think that there are far too many things that happen to all human beings that we know that there's more to life than just us. Okay. I think that we've all had too many experiences. Every one of us have had experiences, some even more so than others.
Right.
But to prove that there is some sort of a spiritual dynamics to our life. I myself have had many experiences in a spiritual way to convince me that I am not here on this earth by myself, that there are spirits here. I believe in a God or a creator. I have no problem, as I said, with spirituality. I have a very big problem with government, money, and religion.
Yes,
that's
somewhat contaminates the beauty of the divine essence.
Absolutely.
That is there.
No doubt about it. And we have the best politicians and religious leaders that money can buy. And I'm tired of that. So that's
can I just ask you something kind of thrown off a little bit? Do you believe in reincarnation? And what does the Bible say about that? And
well, I believe that I think that you can make a good case for this, that in the Bible, in the Old Testament and the New, I believe that there was much in the Old and New Testament to support reincarnation, but was dropped out and taken out during the Middle Ages, because we know that happened. We know many scriptures were deleted, and some things were put in that were not in the original. Mm-hmm. So I think that the scriptures dealing both in the Old and New Testament with reincarnation were taken out purposely, because the church felt that that would be harmful to the people to think that they come back and they come back again. Because if you keep coming back before God in other lifetimes, then why do you need to contribute to the church today? Why do you absolutely? Why do you even need to go to church today or to even hear the priest if you're going to come back the next time and do it over again anyway? So I think the church said no, none of this. We have to take that out and let everyone believe that they only have one time through, and that's it. So you have to be in subjection to religion.
Oh, so that right there shows the government being involved with the.
Well, I mean, even in European history, our history of Europe is filled with the papacy and the Pope of Rome being involved with the kings and the princes of Europe, and of course that's referred to as the old order of the world, the old world order. And of course in America we have our religio-political foundations, and we call ourselves a new world order. And that's on the dollar bill, the back of the dollar bill. So there's a lot of connections behind the scenes between major religion, big money, and government. And that's what the book is about. The book your church does not want you to read. It's just a general anthology on all of the things that are in religion that the churches don't want you to know about.
Now, as we explore this, what happens to people as they become more enlightened? What else will, I mean, I can't think of people not ever having a church in their life. Church seems to mean so much, give so much more. I mean, how would the church be completely changed? Would we ever have a church again?
Well, I mean, did they have churches in Adam and Eve's day? I mean, when creation first began and the ancient peoples of the ancient world, did they have churches? You see, I'm saying that there's a very big difference between religion, which requires a church and the clergy and money and organization, as opposed to spirituality within your individual self, spiritually between you and your divine creator. I don't believe that there is necessity for a church, synagogue, or whatever. I think that the spirituality is between you and your creator. So I don't see a need for the church.
Yes, I think I kind of pick up what you're saying, is that you want to bring back the essence and the innocence of people.
Yes.
And not have it all of this
accoutrements of entertainment, like entertainment tonight.
Entertainment.
Right.
Right.
And so I see nothing spiritual in the church television and church radio. I see nothing more than the Madison Avenue promotion of religion that always and in every way supports government.
That would be a major metamorphosis for people,
yes,
if that was to ever happen.
I think that's going to happen. I think that we are being forced by events in the world to wake up and begin to question our foundations and our belief systems. We expect the Arabs to do so. We expect the Hindus to examine their foundations and see that they need to examine what they believe. And it's very good for everyone else in the world to examine what they believe. So why isn't it good for us to do the same?
So now that Freemasonry, is that where symbolism started coming about?
Well, yes. Let me explain why I got into symbolism. As you said in the beginning of the program, my mother had an uncle who worked in the Vatican Secretary of State's office. And every few years he would come back to this country and he would sit and talk for days about all the intrigue going on behind the scenes of religion and politics. And it was a very interesting conversation because, and I was just a small child growing up, but I would hear him, and I would hear this kind of conversation where he would deal with symbols and emblems and secret societies and fraternal orders and the wars and revolutions.
Do you have that to show us, any symbols?
Well, we don't have that with us tonight, but we do have a few slides that we'll get into in a few minutes dealing with the foundations of Western religion. But in relation to the symbols, all of these emblems and symbols mean something to us, you know, and so many people are unaware. I mean, the Bible has Jesus saying, many will look with their eyes but not see, and that is certainly true. People look at symbols all day long and have no idea in the world what they mean, and symbols are very important. And if you don't think so, watch someone wearing a swastika go into a synagogue and watch the reaction that the Jews will have when they see the swastika, because symbols mean something. They have very powerful
I've
supports.
often wondered about the swastika. Isn't it like a cross?
Well, it's the Hindu originally. The swastika from Germany was a Hindu symbol. And of course, then it generated down into, finally, the Nazis picked it up, like many other nations, and other people picked it up, too. The American Indians had, and the Buddhists have the swastika.
Are we going to go to the slides? I think
yes, if you'd like, we can go to the slides. I was just I'm just going to make mention about the foundations of Western religion.
Or maybe we can do that on part, the next show. We can.
Well, let's go on with this since we've already introduced the idea of Western religion. Of course, we know that the Western religion is based on a far older Bible, the Bible of the Old Testament. Even further back, if you'll go back into the most ancient history of the world, in the Middle East especially, you will see, as we will show you now, the volcano was one of the many things that were worshipped in the ancient world. The volcano was very important because it represented life and creation, and it had a sexual connotation.
Wow.
That's why today in most men's rooms in hotels or restaurants there will always be a triangle on the door. Triangle being the pyramid. Pyramid comes from the word pyra, meaning fire, and mid, meaning middle.
Right.
The fire of sexual generation is in the middle of the human body. That's why the volcano always represented sex, the coming of life and the fire of life that brings new life to the world. So the volcano was a very important symbol to the ancient people. We'll go to the next slide and we will see how, now here is the encyclopedia discussion of, and let's go to, we'll see it says the volcano, like any other impressive or fearful aspect of nature, volcano had become the objects of worship for human beings from the earliest Stone Age. Yet the original Yahweh, which is one of the gods of the Old Testament, the original Yahweh seems to have begun as a volcano god also. Mount Sinai, where Moses encountered him, as was the seat of the Midianite god, and in the Midianites' earliest homeland, he was identified with the local moon god Sin, which is where we get the name for the mountain in the Middle East, Sinai, or Sinai. Comes from the old moon god Sin, after whom the mountain was named. The appearance of Yahweh, as I said, Yahweh is one of the ancient gods